Hey everyone, it's Talia here. Welcome back to another tutorial video on this channel. This video has been highly requested since I started posting more about the watercolor nails that I've been doing. One of my favorite ways to use watercolor paints is in combination with stampers, and I find that clear jelly stamper images work so well because there's a lot of area for you to paint. We're also going to throw in some glitter, we're going to throw in some Swarovski crystals, and this entire design is going to be pulled together. Let me show you how I did it. To start, I'm going to take Light Elegance's #OMG, which is a really nice silvery pink color. I'm going to put this all over her pinky. Before curing that gel, I'm going to take some of this loose glitter called Champagne Kisses from the Glitter Boutique. I thought this would be a perfect match to the Light Elegance #OMG, but it's a little bit more warm toned, which I realized once I started putting it on. I think it still pairs nicely, but it is not an exact dupe. I'm going to cure the pinky and then I'm going to do the exact same thing on her thumbnail. I do like to mix up the different designs, whether I have pinky matching thumb or ring finger matching thumb, but in this particular design, I want the watercolor nail to be the main focus, and I don't want the accents of a pinky and thumb to take away from it. So these are kind of filler nails is what I like to think of them, and they're just going to be a pinky and a thumb that combine together to create a cohesive design. I like to use a light color for the background of my watercolor nails. A lot of Gelato from Light Elegance is a really nice neutral light color. Typically I like to use whites or let's say vanilla bean, something like that, but I knew I didn't want a white in this design. I also knew that I didn't want vanilla bean because it was too creamy. So a lot of Gelato is a good compromise between the two of them. I'm just going to put this all over both of her middle fingers. Light Elegance's Hold Me Closer is a great rosy colored nude. It's a little bit more pink than say the nude that I have on my nails right now, and I thought it would pair perfectly with this design. I decided to put this all over her ring finger as well as her pointer finger, where we're going to eventually put some Swarovski crystals. When I'm applying my Light Elegance colors, I'm using my LE number 4 brush. I love this brush for applying the LE colors. And then when I need to get closer to the cuticles, I just take a dotting tool and that gets in nice and close. The gel I've been using on my clients lately is Fusion's SL Clear. I am loving the consistency of this gel. It is similar to their 2.5 in that it's a little bit more runny than the 5, which is pretty thick to use, but it is also flexible like Fusion's 5, which is what I really like about Fusion 5. So it's the best of both worlds and I'm really enjoying using it. The plate that I decided to use from Clear Jelly is called Sketch Garden. You want to find a plate that has the outlining where there's a lot of area for you to paint. This is the reason why I like Clear Jelly stampers so much for doing watercolor paint in combination with stamping, is because they have a lot of outline plates that work fabulous for this technique. I decided to stamp a few different florals on each of the nails as well as some leaf elements. Now, when it comes to watercolor paints, you truly do not have to get super high quality fancy paints. You could use ones that you find at the dollar store, you could use your kids' ones, but the ones that I'm going to use today are from Prima Marketing. I love these watercolor paints. They are so highly pigmented, they dry rather quickly, they're easy to blend. I cannot say enough good things about them, but I have used ones from Michael's, I've used ones from the dollar store before. It's not necessarily important that you get super high quality ones. All I'm doing here is blending some different colors together to get more of the shades that I want. You guys know me, I hate mixing my own colors when it comes to any sort of medium, which is why I like the Prima paints as well, is because they come in a lot of different type of collections. So the ones that I'm using today are the pastel ones as well as the confections one. I'll leave them in the description box below. And I wanted the florals to be kind of fall-ish, but still have some different light elements. And the Confections one has amazing greens in it, and the Pastels one has amazing pinks, which is kind of what I was going for. So my first step is to just put the colors on the nail. And you guys are gonna see that I'm gonna go back and forth between the different nails that I'm coloring in. This is so that it gives the paints a chance to dry before I go in with another color, because if you go with super wet watercolor on top of super wet, it's just gonna bleed together. So I like to give it a second to kind of dry before I go in with my second color. Once I have the color where I want it, I'm just going to clean off my brush and add a little bit more water to it and blend those colors out. Now this brush that I'm using, I cannot find for you guys anymore. It is not a watercolor brush. It's honestly just one that I had in my collection that I just decided to give a try, and it works really, really well. If I can find a link for it, I will. It's an old one that Can West used to carry, and they just don't have it anymore, but if I can find something comparable, I'll leave it in the description box below. Another place to look for good watercolor painting brushes that are nice and fine and work well is Michaels. They have a whole watercolor paintbrush section, and I'm really liking their brushes too. So I just go back and forth between the different nails to add color, take color away until I get the look that I'm going for. One of the things that I love about watercolor is if you make what you consider a mistake, it's so easy to fix it. You either just wait till it dries and then take some water and suck up the color that you didn't like, or you just go over top of it with some other color and you can make it look a lot better. You guys are going to see this kind of demonstrated with the greens here. This particular image doesn't have a lot of greenery area, but the other one that I did has a whole bunch. So I just work with my greens back and forth until I get the color that I'm looking for. Good thing to keep in mind is that the more wet the paint is, the more runny it's going to be and the less pigmented that it's going to be. So if you want it to be more pigmented and not so watercolor-y, then you just want to make sure that you're adding a lot of paint. Now, if you've got too much paint on the nails and you want it to be more watercolor-y, like the flower there where it's kind of sheared out, all you do is make sure that you clean off your brush and just have a brush with just water in it and take some of that product away. I really apologize that this clip was completely out of frame. I don't know what happened here. I have a new camera and I'm still kind of playing with the focus with it. But all I'm really doing is blending my colors together to get a different shade of what I want. I'm placing a lot of my product down. You guys can see kind of in here that the product is highly concentrated right now with color and water. Once this dries, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna shear it out. This is what it looks like after I've given it a second to dry. I just wanted to mix up a little bit more of a chartreuse green as well as add some more of a dark green element to it. And I'm gonna go back in and add some details. So I just do a couple of lines to add a little bit more color. Then I'm gonna take all of the product out of my brush, which you guys can't see there. I'm gonna wipe it off and I just go in with just water on my brush and I just rest my brush on the nail to pull some of that pigment out. In between each brush stroke, I am wiping my brush off so that I don't have very much product in it, because once you remove any sort of painting from the nail, you're gonna have product left on your brush. So you wanna make sure you're using plenty of water, you're cleaning it off in between. There really is no right or wrong way to do this. I just encourage you guys to get a feel for your brush, get a feel for your paints, get a feel for adding colors, taking colors away, and this is why I like doing it in combination with stamps, is because then it gives us a guideline instead of trying to come up with an image on our own. The Swarovski crystal colors that we decided to use today are called Vintage Rose, Olivine, Dark Moss Green, and I believe I threw in some light silk here as well. One of my favorite crystal clusters, which you guys have seen multiple times, is this one just in the corner of the nail. I decided to use an SS20 as well as some SS16s. We're gonna go in with some SS9s as well as some SS5s to kind of clean up the look. I'm just gonna go back and forth with the different colors to give it a little bit of a dimension here. I wanted to be sure to include some of the greens, which will match the florals that we just did on the nails and tie everything together in a cohesive look. Another one of my favorite crystal placements for either pointed or almond type of nails is to just do crystals along the side. I find it doesn't work as well doing this with squares, so whenever I have an opportunity to do it with an almond type of nail like this, I definitely take advantage of that. Again, we're using some SS20s, some SS12s this time, going in with some SS9s and some SS5s. Lately, my top gloss of choice is from Glitter Bells, and it is their No Wipe Top Gloss. And that is our last step. We're just going to top gloss over all of these nails. I love seeing the finished product come together, especially when you're doing watercolor painting. Everything just kind of pops. I definitely encourage you guys not to judge your watercolor until you get your top gloss on, because that's where it all comes together. Make sure when you're top glossing around your Swarovski crystals that you're doing your best not to get top gloss on top of them and that you're surrounding them instead. And when it comes to watercolor painting, I would like to encourage you to gloss this twice. So cure it when it comes out. Make sure you do a second coat on top. That way it's not going to go anywhere. Another tip for top glossing over top of watercolor paint is make sure it is 1000% dry before you go in, or else you're going to smear it all over. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that it helped those of you who had some questions about how I've been doing these watercolor painting looks that I've been posting on my Instagram. I want to encourage all of you to try out some watercolor painting in combination with your nail stamping. It's just another way that you can utilize those nail stamps that you already have in your collection. Make sure you're following me on all of my social media, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!